Hey everyone, this is Evgeny, and today we continue our series about LangSmith. And it might seem not so interested in LangGraph as building a graph, but this is a really useful tool. And if you're constructing your agents, and if you want to know the details of what's happening inside your agents, if you want to follow this, you have to learn this stuff as well. So welcome in the second video about LangSmith. Alright, just to recap, we are talking about a very simple RAG application which contains of two steps. It's a RAG retriever and the LLM call. And in terms of LangSmith, we are talking about projects, traces, and runs. And the project is your application, trace is the whole flow across all the steps, and run is separated step. And practically, we are talking about runs, so these smaller squares here, right? And let's start from the application we created last time. It's pretty straightforward. AI application doesn't have any LangGraph, LangChain capabilities, doesn't use anything, just direct calls to OpenAI. And I'm running it. And let's go back to the LangSmith and check how it looks like. So we have it here. And interesting thing, since we're talking about types, look at that, we have different items, and somehow it's marked that fetch documents, for example, generate answer or run OpenAI chat, is a chain type, and you can see this symbol here. And for some reasons, the real document retrieval from vector storage we have as a retriever, and it's a different icon, right? And it gives you some sugar on top. For example, if LangSmith knows that this is a retriever, you can see the list of documents kind of in a readable format. You can open it, you can see some attributes, for example. So LangSmith knows details about that, right? It's not this row format, for example, like the row one would be something like that, right? So LangSmith can reuse that. And this is one question we're going to look later, why and how LangSmith knows about this type automatically, kind of, because we never set it, right? And the second question here, how we can change these types and why do we need those types? Why do we need to change them? This is the main question here, right? And in general, it's pretty simple. We are still going to reuse the same traceable, right? This is the same program, and what we are doing, we are adding a new attribute here, run type, and let's mark this run OpenAI chat with the run type to LLM. So I'm compiling, kind of compiling the application. I'm running it again. Right, we're going back to our list of all the runs, and okay, we have some already, so let's pick the latest one. And look at that. After I marked the run type to LLM here, run OpenAI chat, step, run, it's marked here with the LLM thing. And what does it give us? First of all, it's more clear, like it's visually clear, right, that this is an LLM call, this is a document retriever call, and again, some sugar on top here that you can see, for example, the output is formatted. And again, if we saw the row format, it would be really different. Like you need to understand all the details, right? That's maybe not the best case if you're trying to analyze the problem. And here you can see the outputs in a pretty formatted way. What else do we have? If LangSmith knows this is an LLM, okay, we have this playground thing, this button. For example, if I go to vector retriever, the button is disabled, generate answer is disabled as well, so it's open only for LLM calls. And if I click here, I'll go to the playground where I see the same call, and for testing I can play around with it. For example, like I have the model, I can change it, I can have system message, human message, all this information. I can do whatever I want, like add another message, like a tool call. So I can debug it really, and this is really convenient here. So let's go back. What else types do we have And in general, this is not about only visualization and all this sugar on top, right? It's also about, for example, filters. You can add a filter with specific run type and select all the vector retrieval information, for example. If you have really huge application, there's multiple steps, you can select only LLM calls and check the timing, for example, check the input outputs, how it works. Like you can really dramatically increase the visibility of specific elements you want. And what else? There are multiple types, as I mentioned already, but probably the most frequent ones you would see and use is a chain, and this is a default type. Then, well, if LangSmith doesn't know about the type, it assigned it to the chain, and that we saw already, right? This run OpenAI chat was a chain by default until before we set it to LLM. Then it's LLM, you saw it already, we have a retriever and we have a tool call. Again, there are a bunch of others, but these four you will see the most frequently. Right? And it's an interesting question, I mentioned about that already. Why do we have this retriever? Because this is a vector store retriever in the fetch documents, and if I go there to the code and check fetch documents, and this is my retriever. I never set it up right. I never told that this is a retriever, but somehow LangChain, LangSmith knows about that. And this is the reason because of that, because different tracing methods from the very top level to the bottom level. And the first level is if you are constructing something with LangChain or LangGraph, you have this support out of the box. And here we're using retriever, and in general this retriever comes from this definition, and this is our vector storage, and it's from LangChain community. So that's why it's part of LangChain, and automatically, you saw it already, automatically we have this support for tracing out of the box. One level below is a traceable decorator, and we saw it here, the first two videos. This one and the previous one, and the reason why you would want to use that, because like probably two cases. First, you are not constructing something based on the LangChain LangGraph, so you have to introduce this manually. Or secondly, you want to add additional attributes or maybe fine-tune it, which is not possible if you have the out-of-the-box configuration. So keep on that in mind, please. And there are even more like fine-tune methods you can use, for example, with trace, and this works kind of a wrapper, and it gives you more control, because you can mark with trace even snippet of the code snippet which you want to have in LangSmith as a single run, right? And here's an example. Again, the same application. Let me quickly scroll it down, and we have it here. Look at that. For example, I want to see the context, which is not part of it. So I removed all the decorators here from generate answer, but I'm using this with trace, and I'm defining name is generate answer. I'm defining the type as a chain, right? And I have some inputs, and this is my question and the context, the formatted one, which I want to see. And I'm running this as a LC trace, and here's my run OpenAI chat, and I have the content, and I'm finishing this with saying LC trace, and I'm providing some output back. And we're compiling that we are running that again, right? Going back to our LangSmith, and if I take this one, look at that. We do have this generate answer. So this one was configured using this wrapper, and I can see some information here as well, and the output as well. Like here, you can use really if you want part of your function to be presented as a single graph, you can use this technique. And the last thing I wanted to show you about tracing, you can even use this wrap OpenAI. So this is kind of a specific case, and it works. You create a wrapper around your OpenAI, and whenever you make a call to OpenAI, this wrapper will generate the tracing for you automatically. So how it works, you import wrap OpenAI, you wrap in your client here, and practically that's it. So what's happening, we have this run OpenAI chat, again, no traceable notation, nothing, but this one is a wrapper already, and it knows about the trace information, knows how to send it, and the rest is pretty straightforward, right? So I'm running it again. We have the same kind of answer. We're going back to LangSmith project, and I'm open it. And look at that, we have this chat OpenAI automatically generated by wrapper. And the same, we have some input and we have some output, and everything works as expected. And I can go to playground and give it a try. Alright, that was very short information about different type of runs you can use in your application. And again, try to play around with that, because the more you have the feeling how it works, the better you can debug your application at the end of the day. And just to recap what we just saw, we have different run types, and this is very convenient. And based on run types, also LangSmith can provide additional functionality, like go to playground, for example, or provide the format list of documents. This one thing. And another thing which you need to understand, there are different levels of tracing, and it starts from the case where you're constructing your application using LangChain or LangGraph. Then you get everything automatically out of the box. And if you check our other course about LangGraph, then we use this concept a lot. Again, if you are developing AI applications, this is LangSmith. This is a really useful tool. You have to learn it, because sooner or later you face the problems and you don't know how to debug them. And believe me, looking at logs, it's not the best way. But that was me, Evgeny. I will see you next time in the next video. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.